Kia ora everyone and welcome to my guide about how to be a pro at 1.3, a study guide by Miss Mackenzie. The goal of this video is for you to understand and thrive in the 1.3 exam. Let's get started. This is what the exam looks like. The only difference is that this year it's an external and last year in 2024 it was an internal. So it's slightly a little bit different, but we'll get into the differences a little bit later. To get excellence, you need to be perceptive. To get merit, you need to be convincing. And then to get achieved, you just need to understand the aspects, which might not mean much to you now, but I'm hoping that by the end of this video, it will make a lot more sense. The point of this exam is that it is worth 5 literacy credits. It helps you engage with the ideas of a text, makes you connect to the ideas, it makes you connect the ideas to the world. It's quite a nice exam, actually. I quite enjoy it. It also gives you the skills to be able to create meaning. All right, how the exam will look. You will choose from one question from a selection of questions. These questions will be about idea or character or setting, sometimes a combination of these questions, sometimes more than one. So if there is an S at the end of characters and you only write about one character, that means you'll get a not achieved because you didn't read the wording of the question properly. So it's really important that you read the wording of the question properly. And you'll be marked out of 8 for the entire thing. If you attempt the exam and you begin to address the question, then you'll get an N1 or sometimes an N2 if you think about it deeply. The goal is for you to get an E8. So the 1.3 do's and don'ts. The do's, you need to learn your film techniques. So for my class, we're doing it about a film. And so for the film, you need to learn about the film techniques. But if you were doing this about a movie, you would do like about the character or the ideas or blah, blah, blah. You'll have different evidence. But for me and my class, we're doing a film, so you need to learn your film techniques. You need to learn your key scenes, ideally off by heart, but you should be able to recall and recite like at least 4 film techniques per scene and only about 2 scenes. Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later as well. It'll make more sense. Use the planning space on the exam page properly. Utilize all the space that they give you. This space isn't marked, but it's really, really helpful for you later on in your essay. If you get off track, then you can be like, oh, look at my planning page. Reword the question in your answer. So if the question is, how does the creator help you engage? You're going to say the creator helps me engage by. And you're always going to be referring to that because the rewording of the question has now become your topic sentence. Connect your film techniques together. This is what will give you your merit and your excellences by weaving your techniques together, showing how a combination of them work well and work together. Use Paleo in your structure. I die by the structure. I think that it is really, really useful to point evidence, explain link, evidence, explain link. But again, I'll get into that a little bit later. Keep referring to the question. Really easy to forget, but remember this is an essay about your question and your topic sentence. And if you're not referring to the question, then your essay is kind of meaningless, and that's not what we want. Zoom out. Also think about the bigger picture. This is how you'll get your merit and your excellences. Like zoom out. Like, what is the big picture here? What is going on? How does this connect to the world? How does this connect to author's purpose? And so things that I don't want you to do. Don't forget to adjust the question. Very important. This whole thing is about the question. Make it about the question. Don't forget to include the film techniques as your evidence. Don't be informal. So like, I can't think of any language features, or I don't know what film techniques that is. So always know your film techniques. Very important. Don't write a little, write a lot. Use all the space that is given to you. And lastly, don't give up. So let's go through an example together. So my film was The Hate You Give, directed by George Tillman Jr. in 2018. Even though your studied text might be different, like a different movie, a book, or a group of poems, the structure of the essay remains the same, and the marking will also remain the same. So that's something to think about as well. So what do I actually do? Pick the right question for you. Don't pick one about a topic that you like, about one that you haven't studied or that you're not confident about. I also really advise against choosing the setting question. Setting's really hard to talk about, but if you want to do it, go for it. But I reckon writing about ideas is a lot easier for me, and character is also something that it is tricky to write about if you don't know what you're writing about, But yeah. So start by planning your evidence. Some parts of your essay can be memorized, for example, like your introduction, your conclusion, but you still got to change it up so that it addresses the question. Your evidence also should be in your memory as well. But you can't, this type of assessment, you can't memorize the entire thing and then go into the exam and write it about something if it's not addressing the question, because then you'll get a not achieved, and that's again not what we want. Lastly, stay calm. So here are some example questions. How does the ending of a text help to show one or more ideas about the text, about the world that you live in? How does the creator use one or more events to help communicate important aspects of characters? How does the creator use techniques to help you engage with the text? And then there are some examples of techniques. How does the creator use settings to highlight important ideas in the text? How does the creator use characters to help you understand the text as a whole? So looking at those questions there, they are about ideas, character setting, one about techniques, but then it was also about ideas. So the one that I think I would choose if I was in that exam hall would be number 3. How does the creator use techniques to help you engage with the text? Especially about my film, where there is lots of engaging with the text, where you have to think about your own position in society and think about. I think that question speaks to me the most. Although you could also choose number 1, number 2, just not number 4. I don't like setting. Anyway, so I chose number 3. So moving on to my planning, which is the really, 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 really important part. So planning is so important. Unpack the question in your planning and then plan your paragraphs. So here I've written down my question, which was, how does the creator use techniques to help you engage with the text? The techniques are the film techniques, my angle shot, my bird's eye view, my dialogue, my diegetic sound. My engage with the text is how do I care about racism? What is my position in that? So here I've planned my paragraphs. My paragraph 1 is going to be scene 1, or one of the scenes I've chosen, which is Khalil's death, the main character. I might talk about George Floyd, I might talk about police brutality, and my evidence that I have memorized in my brain is a close-up shot of Star with the diegetic sound of rap music playing in the car. Later on, I'm going to talk about high-angle shot of Khalil and dialogue of Star saying, "What did you do?" And then my paragraph 2 is going to be the protest scene. The protest is like an allusion to Black Lives Matter. The extreme close-up shot of Star on top of the car, you can see her face with determination, which is paired really well with the dialogue, "I am the witness," because she's not allowed to be the witness, no one should know her identity. And then later on, I'm going to talk about bird's eye view of the protesters, shows how many protesters there are, and then the diegetic sound of the crowd cheering, and they're like, "Yay!" So now that I've got my evidence, I'm going to plan my introduction, which is again, this is the part that is also in my brain, the wording of this is, but I've changed it up so that it addresses the question. So in The Hate U Give, directed by George Tillman Jr. in 2018, we follow the life of the protagonist Star after she witnesses the brutal murder of her best friend Khalil at the hands of Officer 115. The scenes I will be focusing on is Khalil's death scene and the protest scene. In these scenes, we see the idea of police brutality being shown, which forces us to engage with the issue of racism and in the justice system. In these scenes, we see an array of film techniques that exposes the flaws of our system and forces us to feel anger to make us teenagers think about demanding change for future generations. So you see the structure that I'm using for my intro. Paragraph 1. The director uses film techniques such as close-up shots, diegetic sound, and others to help in Khalil's death scene to help me engage with the idea of systematic injustice. In this scene, we see a close-up shot of Khalil's face as he gets shot. The purpose of the shot is to show the look of horror on his face as his life is cruelly stolen from him. The close-up works with diegetic sound of rap music playing in the background, showing that Khalil and Star were innocently listening to music moments before. The close-up shot and diegetic sound of the rap music work together to show how one racist officer changed the fate of Khalil forever. This links to the idea of police brutality because we see how Khalil was brutally murdered for no reason other than reaching for his hairbrush. The officer showed prejudice towards Khalil by pulling him over for having a nice car and then shooting him without evidence of a gun. It makes me feel devastated that thousands of black men, like Khalil, continue to be murdered for no reason other than simply because of the injustices within our systems. Later in the scene, we see a high-angle shot of Khalil on the ground, bleeding, combined with the voice of Star screaming, "What did you do?" These film techniques work together to show Star's at her best friend being murdered. No human should have to go through the pain of this, and it makes me feel angry that a 16-year-old is left to clean up the pieces of a racist system. The director uses these techniques to help us engage with the idea that racism still exists in many corners of society, and it is my job to create change so that our children can live in a world without prejudice and discrimination. While Khalil's story may be fictional, the story of George Floyd is certainly not. In the paragraph 2, the director uses film techniques such as close-up shot and dialogue in the protest scene to help me engage with the idea of exposing injustices within the justice system. In the protest scene, we see a close-up shot of Star's face showing determination and protesting against the police. This is paired with the dialogue, "I am the witness." We know that it is risky for Star to expose her identity as the key witness to Khalil's murder, so for her to be standing up on top of a car, leading a protest, shows that she is brave for standing up for what she believes in. Star is determined to expose the corrupt system that led to the murder of Khalil and continues to protect Officer 115. This protest is reminiscent of the Black Lives Matter protest that started in 2013 after the murder of Trayvon Martin, an unarmed 17-year-old that was murdered by police officer George Zimmerman. Trayvon was later found with a pack of Skittles and a can of iced tea in his pocket. His friends started the Black Lives Matter movement, which grew in popularity in 2020 after the murder of George Floyd. Even though this movie is almost a decade old, the ideas within it are still as relevant as ever. Later in the scene, we see a bird's eye view of the protest, which shows a few hundred participants and the diegetic sound of the crowd cheering for Star. These film techniques work together to show that people are beginning to wake up at the injustices and demand change. In 2020, it is thought that 15 to 36 million people attended the Black Lives Matter protests. As a young teenager myself, I see the parallels of racism within my own country in Aotearoa, and I am shocked that Māori have higher rates of imprisonment than Pākehā. These issues of police brutality and racism are not restricted to the borders of the United States, but also exist within my own backyard. It is up to me to educate myself on the issues of Aotearoa and demand change so that my children can live in a country that treats minorities fairly and equitably. I can do things like attend Toitu Te Tiriti protests, spread awareness on TikTok and Instagram, and vote for parties when I turn 18 that promise to unite our country, not divide it. The protest scene uses techniques to help me engage with the issue of systemic injustice and make me feel hungry for change in my own community and country. To conclude, the director uses film techniques in Khalil's death scene and protest scene to help me engage with the ideas of police brutality and injustice within systems. As someone around Star's age, I realize my power to demand change and fix the flaws in my home country of Aotearoa. George Tillman Jr. has warned me of the issues, and now I must do my part in educating others so that I can help create a better future. This is my marking schedule, so this is what the marker will use to mark my essay against. To get achieved, you have to describe film techniques, show like some sort of engagement with it, also include relevant details like your evidence. So for merit, you need to show how they work together, include relevant details. For excellence, you need to discuss deeper engagement with it. So you want to be connecting it to the world, zooming out, my favorite word. Also talking about author's purpose, and then also including relevant details. So let me know what you think I got in the comments. Here is my finishing advice. Have a go at writing your own answer, and when you finish, mark it. Are you linking your film techniques together? Are you zooming out and looking at the bigger picture? Make sure that you keep on addressing the question. It's really easy to forget the question, like you see it once at the beginning of the exam, but like you need to keep addressing it. Learn your evidence off by heart. It can be really hard, especially if the questions don't match up what you're thinking, but just know your film techniques and why they were used. Stay calm in the exam. No point in stressing, it's just an exam. Email your teacher if you have any questions, I'm sure they'll be more than willing to help you. Lastly, kia kaha and good luck for your exam. If you watch this video the whole way through, I want you to send me a flower emoji so that I know that you watched the whole thing. Have a great rest of your day, kia kaha and good luck for your exam. Bye!